Hello and welcome to the Heart of the Matter. My name is Adeolu.
And I'm Abiswe.
And today we're going to have a very interesting conversation. We've got a guest, Beverly Naya, here with us, and we're going to talk about colorism. Has that ever been something that you've had to deal with as a woman?
Oh yes, personally, not just as a woman. I think it's been an issue among friends or in Africa. I think all across the African diaspora, it's an issue historically from slavery, colonialism, and now.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I find is really interesting about it, because I think that it's something that within Africa, if we talked about by ourselves or considered our own beauty by ourselves, it's not something that would become such an issue. But with colonization, looking at the fact that we've been influenced so much by the West, it starts to define what we consider beauty. And you have things like bleaching going on a lot these days. What's your opinion of that?
We can talk about bleaching from a chemical perspective, the things that you're putting in your skin, but just the fact that people don't like the skin they're in, or they're brainwashed to thinking that they're not beautiful, like they have to meet this other standard of beauty. I think that's an issue.
And I think it's weird because a lot of people would defend themselves. I guess if you think that you're bleaching, you'd say it's because of your definition of how you see yourself, what you think beauty is. And often we're alienated and we don't realize that it's our social surroundings that's making us think that.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a really great conversation about it. So we're going to take a quick break, and then after that, I'll be sat down with Beverly Naya. Hello and welcome back to the Heart of the Matter. I'm Adeolu, and I'm here with Beverly Naya. Beverly, it's so good to have you.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
I'm really excited because I think you're tackling something that is a real issue. Why colorism? That's what I was going to say. Why colorism?
For me, it's just something that I'm passionate about. You know, I decided to learn more about colorism. I've always known what colorism is, but I became passionate about it, let's say, 2014. I was doing some research randomly, and there was a quote that I found that really stood out to me. It was by William Lynch, and this was in the 1700s, and he said, divide the black people by complexion and rule them for 300 years plus. This was in the 1700s. And it's working. Yeah, it's working. Till this very moment. I was really inspired by that, and I've just been on the journey ever since that quote.
I'm going to dive deeper into that. Before I do, I want to ask you to actually define colorism for me, because there are people out there who are like, what is this word?
Yeah. Right? Colorism is just basically segregation within the black race, you know. It's just like a divide in the sense that, you know, you've got light-skinned people, you've got dark-skinned people, you've got brown-skinned people, and there's this kind of hierarchy where one complexion is more desired than the other, and as a result of that, one complexion is made to feel inferior and like they're not good enough or they're not as desirable, which in actuality is not reality. It's not the truth. Right. So yeah. Because
I watch how it kind of plays out in Nigeria in and of itself, right? And based on like the quote that you just gave us, one thing that I think about is kind of how it worked out when we were colonized, and you look at the way we were segregated. Obviously, Nigeria in and of itself was created as it was like a business thing. It was literally, we were not one country. Took different tribes, put them together because of what they thought they could get from each of the specific tribes. And then when the British left, it played out a lot. Colorism played out a lot in who they left in power.
Basically.
And
yeah.
So like how that has affected, I guess, the mentality of Nigerians, because you see it play out in our entire independence, the tribalism, things like that.
Exactly.
So how do you think that, I guess, colorism is affecting us as a people, and what do you think we need to do to change it?
I think colorism in Nigeria started probably, like you said, when we had the British here. And I know they made a particular tribe feel superior to the other tribes in Nigeria because, you know, according to them, they look closest to the Europeans, which is just, you know, it's ridiculous. So I feel like colorism started around that time, probably in Nigeria. I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't say it's a fact, but I would say that influenced the whole light skin, dark skin thing over here. And I feel like the media definitely hasn't helped in today's world. You know, when you turn on the TV, you see...
Go on Instagram.
You go on Instagram, exactly. You see like certain complexions or certain races, I mean, a different race being seen as more desirable, or, you know, this is what you should aspire to look like and stuff like that. So I think a lot of women are now on the quest to meet to become that, you know, and that's definitely increased the epidemic.
So you did a documentary,
Yeah.
which I've had the opportunity to see, and I thought was really, really good. It's called
Thank you.
Skin.
Yes, it is.
And so obviously that was led out for you, your passion for colorism.
Yeah.
Would you say you were aiming to get out of it? Would you say you want people to learn from it when they get the opportunity to see it?
Now, the reason I decided to shoot Skin was because, like I said, I've been on this journey of understanding colorism and how it affects our society since like 2014. And I started out with a campaign, the actual campaign is called 50 Shades of Black.
Yes.
And I started with that in 2014. I decided to get like some notable faces together and then shoot a campaign and kind of inspire a lot of people. And it got a huge amount of buzz, like in Nigeria and out and beyond. And I was like really motivated and inspired by that. And then I did another one, and then I had like a motivational speaking session as well, where I got like colleagues and people in entertainment to come and speak to the young girls and kind of inspire them and motivate them. And I knew that my next step would be a documentary because I want to take it as far as possible. Yeah. I want to take the message as far as possible. I don't want it to just, be something that's like, that just sits here and then that's as far as it goes. Yeah. So I just knew that at some point I was going to do it. But obviously I had to get the budget for it, the finances and whatnot, and secure all of that before I could actually pursue it. And thankfully, that happened late last year, No, sorry, we're in 2019 now. Late 2017, yeah. That's when I got the budget, and I shot it in 2018. And the reason for it was because, like I said, I want to take it beyond. It's a powerful message. It's something, colorism is something that's affecting Black people around the world. Yeah. It's not just in Nigeria.
And it's not by your social class, it's not by your economic class.
It's really not. It's really not. And the documentary highlights that as well. And I just feel like if I can use the documentary to visually inspire people, not just visually, but just inspire them to love themselves more, and to understand who they are from within. Because one thing I found also was that I feel like if you understand who you are wholeheartedly, if you go on a quest to kind of discover yourself, then you will kind of love yourself as you are. Yeah. And I think I focused on that a lot in the documentary. I focused on, heritage. What is your heritage? Who are you as a Black person? Why are you why are you Black? What does your Blackness mean to you? And in, figuring that out, because I went to my village for that very purpose, because I wanted to discover more about my heritage and stuff like that. And I feel like if I can inspire other people to maybe go to their village more or, learn more about their history, Nigerian history, their tribe, learn more about their tribe and stuff like that, then I can empower people to love themselves as they are.
I thought there was a lot of stuff very profound in that moment, in you going back to your village and spend time with your grandmother. Yeah. Because it highlighted for me the fact what actually started to influence the idea of colorism. Because there's a point in which she talks about the fact that it never figured into thinking. Yeah. And you talked a little bit about how your mom and all her siblings, there was not, some were lighter and some weren't, and there was never this envy. Never, because it was never a thing, it was never involved in thinking. Yeah. Again, I think the first time she talked about it coming up was when, I think your grandmother told a story about being in the kitchen, a white lady coming and looking at the difference in complexion in the palm of her hand and, the darkness of the back of her hand. Yeah. And I think that's the first time, because that realization. It's often, and like you said, in this day and age with social media and things like that, it's being confronted with something different that makes you and people starting to make you question that your difference might be a worse difference.
Exactly.
Why is that even a part of the conversation?
Yeah.
I think that it's important that we have these kind of conversations and that people are talking, because like I said, in the social media age, there seems to be so much going on where you're hit with comparisons, things to make you feel like you're not good enough.
Good enough, yeah.
And you're currently on Skinny Girl in Transit, and I think it's a different kind of thing, but it's the same sense of comparison or being made to value or feel like you're good enough, where Tiwa is larger and she's on this journey to lose weight, and it's interesting because she's about to get married to your brother, and you're like, your character is there making her feel bad in that sense of comparison. So
Yeah.
what's your take on that and how it's challenging or raising up issues in different forms of media?
Yeah, I mean, it's another form of bullying, definitely. And it's what goes on in society, you know, it's what we're talking about. You have people that make other people feel inferior because of the way they look, you know. And what I think the beauty of Skinny Girl in Transit is that it makes you realize that it's not about the physical, it's about what's within, you know. And that's the reason why Bimbo's character Tiwa is so desirable, you know, to her fiance and before him other men, because of what's within, you know. And I think as human beings, if we focus more on what's within and just kind of,
it's really important.
we need to get
start
over
doing
ourselves
that,
as human
right?
beings, honestly. You know, like if we focus less on what this person looks like, and then you know, if we weren't so fickle and if we stop saying to ourselves, oh, I don't like this person because of the way he dresses, or because he's fat, or because he's this or he's that.
Yeah. And
I think the world would be a better place.
It's really important because it's something that we're dealing with in so many platforms. You can say wherever you are in the world, but it's, you know, in Nigeria as well, we are so out-centric, so concentrated on the outside.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
And the importance of valuing people's character, valuing people's depth.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that you're doing what you've done.
Yeah.
Because, and I said it, I was really proud when I watched it, simply because it's important to talk about these issues and tell people that this case that we're
it's
in
just the case.
is literally that.
And it's not even ours forever.
Yeah.
That's the irony.
And so we need to get out of our heads in terms of what it looks like. The thing that I think I really want to talk about is, and we're going to talk more about it, we'll probably have to take a break before we really deep dive into it, is the bleaching pandemic. Because it is a pandemic here.
Yeah.
And the idea of why people are doing it, the effects of it, you know, what seems to motivate people to do it. Because I think that's what shocked me the most about the documentary, is actually the reason behind people bleaching themselves.
Yeah. I don't want to delve into much about,
And
you know,
reveal
why.
too much, right?
Yeah, I don't want to reveal too much just yet. You'd have to see it to understand why they do it. But then it was interesting to me, you know. It was fascinating to know that the women that were willing to, like, you know, alter their complexion for a specific reason or different reasons and stuff like that. But I feel like, I mean, I want to stress that the documentary isn't an anti-bleaching campaign.
Yeah.
You know, we're not judging anyone who bleaches in the campaign.
Seeking
the documentary,
right?
just seeking to understand, and it's just primarily about inspiring people to love themselves as they are. And I mean, that's basically it.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. So please come back and we'll continue to talk to Beverly Naya about colorism. Make sure you come back. Thank you.
Black beauty is strength.
The human skin, now that's the body's largest organ. It's probably the most important bit of what makes us who we are.
It's organic, it's rich, it's powerful.
I want to audition for the lead, and they go, but the lead's written as black. And I was like, yeah.
I like light skin because it's making me more prettier.
Growing up, I wanted to be every shade other than the shade that I am. I would wear makeup that would make me look lighter. I would use steroids, and what it did, it faded your skin.
Bobrisky is now rich, like I have money because I sell cream. And I make more money from my cream business because I sell the cream all over the world.
At the points where I was bleaching my skin, I struggled so bad with accepting who I was. I felt like I was just, I don't know, in somebody else's body.
She says she's dating someone, and that person likes fair person.
The complexion doesn't make you a better person at all. Complexion has nothing to do with beauty. The world will love you for who you are, not your complexion.
When you use bleaching cream, give you dark knuckles.
Without enough knowledge or not taking enough precautions while using those products, there has been grave damage that's occurred onto the skins.
My black is bold, your black is beautiful. My black is intelligent, your black is exciting. My black is black.
If I can change one thing about myself, is going back to my complexion. Do you know why? Because the stress I use in rubbing my cream every day is terrible.
Would you ever go back to dark?
If you have the opportunity.
Yeah, I will.
We can improve those skins, bring them closer to what they originally used to be. Unfortunately, there are cases whereby there's irreversible damage and they will need to learn to live with that.
You don't have enough black people defining or making books and saying, this is who we are.
Because color black is actually strong. It's not something that you can throw away.
You don't have to be, beautiful because the way you are is just the way you behave and the way you're loved.
When you see a human being and the person is black, you notice the complexion, the richness of that complexion. That's black beauty. For anything else, you notice the skin. You cannot forget the skin.
Hello and welcome back to The Heart of the Matter. I'm Adiolu and I'm still here with Beverly Naya. We've been having a lot of conversation, really digging into your documentary on colorism. I talked a lot about one of the things that intrigued me the most, I guess, is the bleaching pandemic. It seems to be going on a lot of people doing it, a lot of people hiding the fact that they're doing it. And it's one of those things, I guess, I'm intrigued about is the idea that if you are comfortable doing it, but you feel the need to hide that you're doing it, why would you do something and then feel like you need to hide that you're doing it if you don't think that it's an okay thing to do? That's like an interesting mentality. I guess it's just the stigma, really. They just don't want to deal with the stigmatization that comes with it. Do you have anything that I guess that you heard in the course of it, a personalized story, anything that kind of affected you or got you quite deeply in the process of doing the documentary, prior to doing the documentary? Just something that touches you.
I mean, there's just been like something that may have happened to me. I have one story that I could use, but it's not what inspired the journey at all. I mean, I was really young at the time. I was in primary school, and I used to have was she my best friend? She was kind of my best friend at the time. And she was like light-skinned, really pretty, super long hair, like looked mixed and whatnot. And I always used to feel like the ugly friend, And there was this one boy in primary school that I had a crush on. And I don't know where the courage came from, but I decided to let him know. And then he said something like, oh, no, my dad said I can only date light-skinned girls. Like, you're definitely not my type. Wow. And I was like, ooh. And he basically said that he had a crush on my friend. So I remember for a little while, maybe a period of about a month, I, tried to be like her. I started to walk like her. I started to talk like her. Started to do my hair like her because I just wanted to feel like her. That was the only time that I would say I experienced colorism. Direct colorism, anyway.
It's weird because these things seep in at such young ages. And the mentality, sometimes you don't know where the mentality came from. Like you have a story about it, but some people don't. Because that is one thing, involved in the documentaries. You went to schools and you talked to young kids about what their perception was. And
we've got some interesting
responses,
I mean, it'd be so amazing. There's so many things that are not in the documentary that we wish we could have included, but there's so many things that were said.
In terms of colorism, is there anything that you would advice you'd give to people who I think dealing with maybe feeling less than happy with themselves and the state of who they are based on the color of their skin? Is there anything?
I would say just finding yourself. The thing about saying finding yourself is the next question is how. I am myself. What else is there? But what I mean is that spending some time understanding who you are as a person, understanding what makes you happy, what makes you sad, understanding what your dreams and your goals are and your aspirations are, understanding what God's plans are for you. All these things help you to love yourself a lot more. I think looking in the mirror and appreciating who you are and who God has created you to be is also important as well. And if I was to give any advice, I'll use myself as an example. You need to inspire yourself. You need to love yourself. You need to learn how to love yourself. You need to definitely don't victimize yourself. Don't see, I've just never been one to victimize myself. I don't understand why someone would say, I didn't get this because of my complexion. I didn't get this because I'm not attractive or blah, blah, blah. I think that's a very negative way to think. you know. And I just feel like if you focus more energy on, you know, just being the best version of yourself and knowing that you are good enough and you are worthy and you are valuable, I think a lot of things will move forward for you.
And I think it's really interesting because I think it's one of those things, and it's so hard to fight in this day and age because, you know, even within the entertainment space, it happens a lot. You got to look at, you know, people's perception of people based on their complexion. Your complexion can define to people whether you are good or bad, or whether, you know, you're beautiful or ugly. And it says there's so many things that we put stigmas on people. And it seems very hard to shake in this day of social media where there's you're bombarded with information and with people, you know, you look at this, you know, how many likes did I get in comparison to this person that got a ton of likes, and finding that space of being able to separate yourself from from all of that and be able to define your worth outside of comparison to people, because we're shoved with comparisons in our faces
100%.
so often.
I mean, that's the world we live in today, unfortunately. But yeah, you just need to learn how to tune out, because once you drop that phone, reality happens. Everything that happens on social media is not real. Do you get what I mean? So you can't be that absorbed, because once you drop your that, like I just said, once you close that app and you've dropped your phone, what you're facing is the reality. So who are you in the real world? That's what's more important. It's not about who you are on social media. It's who are you in the real world? How valuable are you to society?
What would you say that you learned the most in the process of doing it? And not just the documentary, but going back to the campaign and things like that. What do you think you've learned the most about it?
For me, when I started the campaign, I was still figuring myself out. I was still trying to find myself and stuff like that. I mean, I've never been attacked because of my complexion. Do you understand? But then I know a lot of people who, till today, get targeted because of, I mean, the dark skin and stuff like that. But one thing I definitely experienced was being bullied. I got bullied a lot when I was young. And for that reason, you know, I just feel like with colorism is another form of bullying, is another form of, you know, making someone else feel inferior to, you know, make yourself feel better and stuff like that. And that's what inspired me. And when I decided to do you know, embark on this journey, it was more to do with, it was a situation of, if I can inspire others, maybe I'll inspire myself in the process. Because I needed inspiration at the time. I needed to feel as though I was worthy. I needed to feel as though I was good enough, because I was going through that at the time. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like I was worthy and all this stuff. And I needed to maybe, you know, inspire others and then kind of reaffirm that to myself. Do you get what I mean? And that's how it started for me. And really and truly, it was extremely therapeutic for me. I learned so much about myself.
I think the things you end up being really passionate about end up being those things that that teach you so much about yourself, so pull something in you. And because I've learned that in terms of my journey and the things I find myself being passionate about as well. It comes from doing things that inspire you, teach you something, educate you, help you find yourself, understand things that you didn't see, or even might have thought you understood at a point until you start to come into deeper understanding, right? So we're going to take a quick break. I'm really, really glad that you've had this conversation. I think it's really important. And when we get back from the break, we're going to go to rapid fire questions with Abisoye. I just want to ask you, you've been sitting there, you've been standing there, you've been listening. Is there anything that I feel like you feel like you've gotten from this conversation that has stood out to you?
Yeah, I think the issue, when you're talking about colorism, it's really something that affects Black people as a whole in general. So it's definitely a global thing. And I was interested in seeing your documentary focusing on Nigeria as well. So I was just interested in knowing how you brought that global perspective back, if there's something you found in the Nigerian experience that was unique to us.
100%. I mean, Nigeria has the highest rate of people who bleach in the whole of Africa. You know, we're at like 70-something% statistically. So that alone is a reason to have this conversation.
That's intense.
70-something%.
The fact that so many people feel like they need to do something, which again speaks to the fact that we're talking about in the society.
I mean, I just feel like, you know, I don't know, like for me, like I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and then after the screening, the mini screening, and they were like, "This is such a huge risk you're taking." And I was like, it is? Because I've never seen it that way at all. I've never ever seen it as a risk. I just see it as an opportunity to empower people. So I was really confused, and I was like, how do you mean? They were like, oh, there's probably people that you may offend. And I'm like, offend. Why would I offend people just because I'm here to inspire? That's my only goal, to inspire young people and empower them to just value yourself and believe that you are beautiful. Exactly. That's basically it. Just hearing that fact alone was quite shocking, you know, especially when you know what this stuff does to your skin over time. But
well, we will talk a little bit more, but right now we're going to take a quick break and get to rapid fire questions. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you come back after the break.
Welcome back to Heart of the Matter, rapid fire questions. So these are just super quick, super fun, random questions. You just say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. What is the first thing you think of in the morning?
Wow, okay, random indeed. First thing I think of in the morning is, I think my phone. Oh, but I don't pick it up though.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I think it's my phone, yeah.
Oh, next question. iPhone or Samsung?
iPhone.
Oh, I'd say none, but... Okay, would you rather work 8 hours standing or 10 hours sitting?
8 hours standing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Canada?
My thoughts on Canada?
Yeah.
Real random.
Indifferent, really. I mean, Canada is... I was in Canada in July, and it's a massive country, but I just feel like it's fun for like a couple of days, but you have to take an Uber everywhere, or you have to have someone driving you because it's just so big. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was in Vancouver and there was no Uber, so.
Really?
But it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Next question. What age do you want to retire?
I don't think well, do you know what? I don't know, like 40s? Is that young?
That is young.
Yeah.
Really?
But it's all right. That means you're going to made your bank.
Yeah, like that'd be nice. Like 40s, or I just want to have a really fulfilling, happy life. You know, I don't want to be working until I'm like in my 60s, 70s, unless it's just because I want to. I don't want it to be because I have to. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you can keep doing whatever you love.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Like I want to still be doing what I love, like even into my 60s and 70s. But I want it to be because I want to, not because I have to.
Yeah. Okay. Final question. What scares you?
What scares me? Not achieving all my goals. Yeah, I think that scares me. Not achieving all my goals, not inspiring people. I have one new fear, but I don't want to mention that one. Let's go.
Okay. Start something, you won't finish it.
Okay.
No, it's not a bad one at all. Yeah.
All right. That's interesting. So there we go. We've done rapid fire questions that you noticed. The questions are really, really
random. Very random.
Nothing to do with colorism.
Yeah.
But on colorism, what would you say you've learned today? What would you say stood out to you? How would you summarize the episode?
I would say just be inspired. I love that it was something that reached out to you and you went for it and you wanted to bring that through the media. I think the media plays a huge role in, I think, what even started colorism in the first place.
100%,
yeah. I definitely just commend you for going ahead, documentaries, and I would love to see films and more in that too.
Thank you, yeah.
And I think for me it was about understanding and learning to value yourself. And that's the essence of it. It's outside of whether it's by colorism or whatever, it's about do you value yourself for who you are. Thank you very much for doing this, taking this documentary and doing something that's having great social impacts, because I think it's very important. So we really appreciate it, and hopefully the word goes out there and actually has the impact you desire for it.
That's the goal, yeah.
Right?
Yes, and thank you for joining us on Heart of the Matter once again. Don't forget to follow us and like on our social media channels at HOTM TV on Instagram, HOTM TV on Facebook, and HOTM channel on YouTube. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.